Hi, welcome to another episode of Healing Space. I am your host, Cara, or Cara, or Charisma, whatever you want to call me. You know me as your friend and biggest cheerleader. Today's episode is going to be about spoon theory. But before I can get into spoon theory, I would like to take a second to thank our sponsors. UCB. UCB is a company that doesn't just care about our physical well-being, they also care deeply about our mental health. So thank you, UCB, for sponsoring this episode. So the origin story behind spoon theory. Spoon theory was invented by a woman named Christine Miserandino. I am so sorry, Christine. I am butchering your last name. Christine came up with spoon theory, and the story behind it is that she was sitting at a diner with one of her friends trying to explain what lupus is and how everything you do when you have lupus costs energy. And when you have a chronic illness, that energy is limited. So what she did is she reached across the table and she grabbed a handful of spoons. And then she took the spoons and she handed them to her friend. So this is me, if you're listening, handing you a bunch of spoons. Here you go. Take the spoons. She went on to explain how each spoon represents a unit of energy. So then she asks her friend, and I'm going to ask you, listener, now tell me, how are you going to get through the day with these spoons, these units of energy? As her friend started listing off all the tasks that she would need to do for the day, like getting ready, showering, going to work, Christine would take one of the spoons from her friend. As she listed off every unit of energy, or in this case, task, her friend, was doing. Her friend listing off all the things she would need to do throughout the day until her friend realized she didn't have any spoons left. She was out of spoons. And this was a way for Christine to show her friend what it's like to live with chronic illness. When she ran out of spoons, that meant there was no more energy left. And that is how spoon theory was born. So for those of us living with chronic illness, this isn't just a cute metaphor. It's how we survive. Because when your body forces you to live on limited spoons, you learn really quick what actually matters and where to spend your energy. For example, I want you to picture this. It's one of those mornings where you wake up and you already know it's going to be a low spoon day. Your body feels like it's being hit by a truck, but the world doesn't stop. You've got meds to take, maybe a child to get dressed, off to school, work to show up for, or just life. Life you have to keep showing up for. So you sit on the edge of your bed trying to decide, do I shower or do I save that energy for later? You're already doing the math before your feet hit the floor. Every little thing has a cost. And the hardest part is that no one else can see the currency you're spending. Only you can. Which is heavy. That's the invisible part of chronic illness. Managing your energy while you yourself sometimes look perfectly fine. One of the things I love about spoon theory is that it gives us language. It helps us explain the exhaustion that goes deeper than just feeling tired and the kind of fatigue that makes your bones ache. Your brain fog and your emotions just feel raw and sometimes hard to deal with. Saying, I'm out of spoons, tells the truth without needing to justify or over-explain. It's community language. Sometimes a shared understanding is what keeps us going. What the research says is there isn't a lot of scientific research on spoon theory, because it is that. It is a theory. It started off as a story, not a study. For this episode, I don't have any clear studies, just the basic understanding as a spoonie myself that spoon theory has anecdotally helped me plenty. So now what do we do with this information? What can we do? Let's look through some tools. And first, I just want us all to take a deep breath in, hold for 4 seconds, and then out for 4. Here we go. Just a little calm before we get into some tools. Are we ready? Because I know I'm ready. Our first one is going to be this spoon check-in. Start your morning by checking in and asking yourself, how many spoons do I have today? Maybe you wake up with a bunch of spoons. You have a whole handful of spoons. Or maybe you wake up and you realize really quick, you only have 2 spoons. And you don't have to necessarily see it as spoons and assigning a number of spoons. I just want you to notice maybe if your energy's low, medium, high. This helps you set expectations earlier before your body forces you to. And then once you're able to see, once waking up, I have 1 spoon, 2 spoons, a dozen spoons, you can set an expectation moving forward for that day. If you realize really early on that you are having a low spoon day, maybe you can push some things you had planned for that day into tomorrow. Like maybe you need to go get groceries, but it can wait a day. So maybe you push that into tomorrow. Or maybe you wake up and you realize you do have a lot of spoons and it is going to be a good spoon day. So today would be a good day to go and do those errands. Second thing you can do, which I would do after your spoon check-in, is prioritize the big 3. I would do this after you do your spoon check-in in the morning. It's choosing 3 non-negotiables for that day, the things that matter most, and you can let everything else wait. If all you do is, let's say, eat, shower, and rest, that's still a full day. You spent your spoons wisely. I would always encourage you, my listeners, my friends, to make your big 3 things that are self-care. Prioritizing things like showering. Personal hygiene should always be, in my opinion, part of your big 3. Eating should always be part of your big 3, and getting appropriate rest are really important big 3s to have. The third one is bank and borrow with intention. I did touch on this a little bit, and I'm going to dive in a little bit further. Sometimes we have to borrow spoons from tomorrow, like pushing through an event, even though you know you might be hurt from it later. And that's okay as long as if you know that you can borrow spoons from the next day. So let's say an event comes up. Your best friend's getting married and you do not want to miss it. So you wake up that morning and you go, oh my gosh, I have woken up with 3 spoons. It is the morning of the wedding and I have 3 spoons because I've used all of my spoons to help plan this wedding, to do the bachelor party and the bridal showers, and I am barely hanging on to these 3 spoons. And 2 of them are little spoons compared to this bigger spoon. Oh no, what do I do? I would always encourage you to be able to, especially if you do have something bigger coming up that you know is just going to like take all your spoons, is make sure the next day, if you can, plan a low spoon day so that you can pull from the next day. So maybe you plan on extending your hotel, asking to extend your hotel the next morning so that you can sleep in. You don't have to get up early, pack to get out of the hotel room in time. Or maybe you leave the wedding a little bit earlier so you go home and you can get some sleep to pull spoons from the next day. Maybe you just plan nothing the next day besides showering, eating, and resting, if possible, so that you can pull spoons from essentially tomorrow into today. You can borrow some spoons, but you know you're going to have to give them back tomorrow. So use them wisely. Fourth one, another one that you can do is what I call energy pairing or pairing spoons. Spoons have the ability to stack. You can pair them up. For example, maybe while you're folding laundry, which means you have to give away a spoon, watch a Netflix show. You sit while folding the laundry. For me personally, whenever I'm getting ready, I have a vanity so that I can sit while I do my hair and while I do my makeup, because I'm going to have to give that there's 2 spoons. I'm doing my hair and my makeup, and that's after showering. I make sure I have a place that I sit while I finish up my hygiene care routine so that I can pair a low energy task like sitting. Sitting doesn't really take as much energy, obviously, with the higher spoon energy task of doing all this hair. And then the 5th one, turning high spoon energy activities into low spoon energy activities. So for example, let's say a friend was to message you and say, hey, I really want you to come out with us tonight to dinner. And you go, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to go out to dinner, but I only have 2 spoons left. That's not enough energy because I still need to finish work and then I need to go home and I need to walk the dog. I'm not going to have enough spoons to go out for dinner. How can we turn going out to this dinner from a high spoon energy to a low spoon energy? As we went over, resting is super low spoon energy. So pulling once again from the depression podcast, maybe we could ask our friends to turn this high energy outing into a low energy outing for you, and you ask, can someone use their phone and Skype me into this dinner? Because I don't have enough spoons to get out of the house after I walk the dog, but I do have enough that I can get cozy on my couch. I'm going to eat my dinner with you guys, but I'm going to do it from home so that I can get to bed at a good time. So now, going out for dinner with your friends, you might not be able to do the high spoon energy, all of the spoons it's required to go out and do that, but you can still participate in a low spoon way. I hope that made sense. Well, that was a lot of information. So I just want to take a second and reflect. Close your eyes, unless you're driving. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. And I want you to think, how many spoons do I have right now? Notice your body, notice your mind. Maybe this is your cue to rest, or maybe you've got some more spoons than you thought and you can spend them on something joyful today. Either way, you're doing enough. It's hard when you wake up every day and you don't know how many spoons you're going to have. But with these tools, you'll be able to utilize however many spoons you do have to the best of your abilities to live a happy, fulfilling life. Because as a spoonie, as you are, as I am, we can still live happy, joyful, fulfilling lives, even if sometimes we have less spoons. So to wrap this up, spoon theory reminds us that our energy is precious, and so are we. We don't owe anyone a full spoon drawer every day. You just owe yourself the honesty about how many you've actually got on each given day. So that's today's episode. That is spoon theory. I would love to know in the comments about how many spoons you have right now, if this is the first time that you've heard of spoon theory, or if it's something you've been practicing for a few years now as a spoonie yourself. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for taking the time to share this space and listening to this podcast. I will see you guys on another episode soon. Bye.